What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Stoppage Time Stooges. It's another episode. It's three of us tonight as we're recording on what is it? I'm blanking on the days at this point.
Episode 43.
Wednesday, August 14th. A day before LaLiga starts. 2 days before the Premier League. We're excited. It's a good time. The chat's been lively. Everybody's talking about ready for the season, who's going to be having a good weekend potentially. Hopefully all of us.
I'm not. Bet your bottom dollar.
Wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too.
If for those watching on YouTube, Andrew is not with us tonight. He is at work. So unfortunately, you will not get to hear his analysis on Serie A, the Bundesliga, and LaLiga, but we're sure he'll be back next week. So,
do we have his picks?
I do have his bet. That's a new, or it's a return, I would say, I guess, because we've taken a break on the bets over the summer, but we'll see how this goes. Full $500 budget. We'll see who finishes the season with a decent amount of money and maybe not so much for others. Ricardo's going to say himself. He's going to bounce back.
Hopefully, that'd be nice.
Yeah. So that'll be at the end of the episode. Stay tuned for that. But it's kind of one-way show here in terms of what we're going to start with, which is the Super Cup. Kylian Mbappe scoring his debut, 2-0 win against Atalanta. Ricardo, just initial thoughts on the disgusting front four of Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo, Vinicius, and Mbappe.
Oh, disgusting is definitely the word to use there. I don't even know how to start this, but my first, when the whistle first blew, I saw them all on the pitch, and I'm like, we are so spoiled, Real Madrid fans. We're so spoiled. It's, a blessing, yeah. It's awesome. But it's just, I don't know. It still doesn't feel real, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Still feels like a dream. And say what you want about Super Cup, it's still another trophy, even if it is kind of a Mickey Mouse trophy, as I said to you earlier, Christian, before we started the show. Yep. But in terms of the performance, Real Madrid did have a lot of the ball for a good chunks of the games. Atalanta eventually found their footing early on, but it's still in kind of an adjustment period because, last season it was, playing with four midfielders, Jude is the false nine essentially. This time around, Ancelotti went with the 4-3-3. Mbappe obviously starting up in the center, Vini, Rodrigo off the wings. It seems like they're still trying to, get a feel for each other, which is totally normal. It's still very much early in the season, which, they'll eventually, it all clicked for them. But just to see, Mbappe score was awesome. I said, in the group chat, all caps, just Mbappe, and just Andrew saying, he's watched it a million times, the goal he scored. But it's just really exciting. It's a sign of, what's to come really for this season. Just, when you have so many talented players, starters, and even on the bench, it's just, this is going to be an electric season.
Jacob, what do you think of this front four in terms of what they can provide?
For all the opposing teams, good luck, because they're going to need it trying to stop this front four or front three or whatever you want to call it. It's talk about an embarrassment of riches. That's an understatement to that expression. What Real Madrid have right now is it's insane to have this much talent on one team, especially when they get arguably the best player of the world on a free transfer. On a free transfer. You know how much money you could have made, PSG? You could have had 200 million.
Yeah.
You could have rebuilt the entire squad. But that doing good business is not it's not always in there. It's not what they do all the time. So not much of a surprise. But I mean, today, obviously, the Super Cup is not. I guess it's somewhat of a Mickey Mouse thing, but it's still a trophy, as Ricardo said. And the fact that Mbappe was able to score in his first game is pretty remarkable. I mean, it's Atalanta. It wasn't Leverkusen. It was a pretty, even for the Super Cup, it was a pretty beatable opponent, in my opinion, for Real Madrid. It was a game that they had to win because even though it's a Super Cup, it's a bad look if you lose to Atalanta. I mean, you can't lose, especially with Scamacca not there. You can't lose.
And Coop Miner's on the way out, not available.
You can't lose to Atalanta. I'm sorry, you can't. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all works throughout the season. But if you're a Real Madrid fan like Ricardo, like Andrew, and like many, many others, I mean, you're salivating right now. It's that simple. I mean, it doesn't. I don't know if it gets any better than this from a standpoint of attacking.
No.
So, yeah, again, to the other teams that have to play them, good luck.
Yeah. I mean, for me today, I don't know if Real Madrid were that great, but the difference between, good teams and great teams are that they are going to punish teams for mistakes.
Yep.
Both of the goals today came off of poor clearances, not a great goal kick, I believe. Or the goalie was responsible for at least one of those, maybe both. And then, with those four, you can just transition so quickly. And if one defender is in the wrong position, done. It's a goal. And that happened today on multiple occasions. And, I mean, it's going to happen over and over again this season. If those four stay fit, I feel like at this point, it may be a stretch because having this expectation is probably a little crazy, but I think anything less than the league and the Champions League for me is a neutral. It wouldn't be a failure, but it would be underwhelming because, City matches up really well, I would say, with Real Madrid, even after this move. They did last year. They have in years past, but not with Mbappe, Jude, Vinny, and Rodrigo. I mean, I don't know. Ricardo, what do you think of that as an expectation? I don't know what you're thinking going into the season. What is the benchmark for you to say it's a successful season?
I mean,
at least one trophy.
That's still disappointing. Yeah, even just one.
You would be disappointed with one?
Only one, yeah. Not counting this Super Cup.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be very disappointing.
It's hard to ask or require the Champions League, especially in a new format too. But man, with this team barring injuries, it's hard to not expect that.
Yeah, I think this team is expected to win literally everything possible. I mean, they're good enough to do it.
Yep.
It's just a matter of can they stay healthy, and that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think even though it's astronomical expectations, that's just the team you've built. You've built these standards for this team. So I'd feel like at the very least, LaLiga and
one of the cups.
Yeah, one of the cups definitely. I don't know. I feel like they can win it all, just everything.
Yeah, it's hard to not agree. So, what we are going to be in for they're going to have the eyes of everyone every single weekend and every single midweek. I mean, I would love to know the numbers on today's game just because of Mbappe. It's Jacob said it. Greatest player in the current game going to the most dominant team in modern football with an excellent manager. And it's crazy that the midfield and the defense and the goalkeeper are all going to be kind of in the back seat in terms of popularity and energy. I mean, Real Madrid fans are going to, be excited for what Camavinga does when he comes back from injury, and Tchouaméni. And then, I mean, Eder Militao comes back from injury. David Alaba is coming back.
Courtois.
I mean,
they might have to think about this. They might have the best goalkeeper in the world, and you would completely forget that because of how good every other player is around him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we have the best goalkeeper in the world. No big deal.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean,
ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Playing manager mode on FIFA, man. It's crazy.
I have a question. How does this work with financial fair play? Where's that financial fair play?
Well, because I mean, I don't know what the wages. I don't know what the wages look like, but I mean, they got them on a free.
Yeah, like that's
God. PSG are so stupid. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be able to sleep at night.
Yeah. Especially when you consider what they paid to get him too. Years ago. So.
And he's worth more now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Way more.
Yeah, no question. All right, that's plenty on Real Madrid. Going to be a discussion all season. We're going to be discussing them pretty much every week, probably at this rate. But it only makes sense to transition into our 2024-25 La Liga predictions. We're just going to discuss the top 6 and a top score. Does anybody have someone other than Real Madrid winning the league?
I don't know.
No. I think you're delusional if you pick anyone but them. But
I'm going to double check my text with Andrew. I believe he is going to agree with us.
I was going to say, if Andrew picked anyone but
he said Real Madrid, obviously.
Yes. Okay.
Now, I think the interesting part is number 2 here. I expect to see some different names here. Ricardo, I'll start with you. Who do you have finishing behind Real Madrid?
This was tough.
Yeah, I agree.
Very, very tough. I have Barcelona finishing second. Simply for Lamine Yamal is one huge part of it. Dani Olmo, huge part of it. They just signed him as well. And I think last season they were they were plagued by injuries. Several players long term. Gavi, Pedri. There's a lot of players that got.
Young.
Yeah, there are a lot of.
He hurt? Yeah, he was hurt.
He was hurt.
Yeah, but I think I don't know. They were just really unlucky on that front, at least. But I think they're good enough to bounce back. And Hansi Flick, having worked with Lewandowski and Bayern, I think he can sort of get the engine going with him, and he'll have a bounce back season 2. So that I think they're still like they'll make it competitive, at least to try and compete for the title. But it's really close though between Barca and my third team is Atleti. But you guys go on that.
Andrew, how many points will they win? Will they win the league by? Ricardo? How many points do you think that they'll win the league by, Real Madrid? Double digits?
I mean, they did last season. Yeah, probably. I'd say at least 10 points. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Christian. So you just want to go like, who's my second team? You want?
Yeah. Who's number 2?
I have Atletico Madrid. I like Julian Alvarez a lot, but I don't think he's worth that much money. Yeah. And what worries me about Julian Alvarez is he reminds me a little bit of João, but a lot better. But like their makeup, the way that they play, their build. Alvarez is flashy. Simeone hates flashy.
I think he's a better goal scorer than João Felix.
No, he's way better at that. But my biggest problem,
I think he's also a better playmaker too.
Yeah,
Felix is a horrible playmaker. But the thing that he has their stats to back this up. But the problem with that Alvarez is can he score 15 goals in a season?
I think
Because he has to. I think he has to do that this year. Because to me, unless he has a lot of assists, he's got to score way more goals than he has in previous years. And part of that was opportunity. Part of that was positioning, whatever. I just think that he has to take a big jump now because the way Atleti play, there's not a lot of Simeone doesn't have a lot of patience. If he doesn't like you, you're done. There's not a lot of getting back into the team. Ask a lot of people. So I still think they're going to be really good, though. Morata leaving is interesting, especially after him having a really good year. I don't really understand why they were okay with letting him go. I get that they got Alvarez, but I mean, what is he so hell bent on playing Correa that we can't let him go? And what's the deal with Griezmann?
Yeah.
See, I'm almost talking myself out of having Atletico in second
everything we've
place.
said so far is making it seem like
All right, you know what? Screw it. I'm flip-flopping. I'm going to flip-flop.
Oh, wow.
Switching, putting Barca.
Barcelona second, Atletico third.
Okay.
And again, if they get Conor Gallagher? Do they not get Conor Gallagher? I think it'd be a nice addition. I don't think he's a big needle mover.
No.
And yeah, honestly, on second thought, I had Atleti, but too much uncertainty. Something's missing. Oblak, a year older. He's not immortal. And as far as Barcelona, Olmo will help. Interested about where he's going to play.
Good point.
Because is he going to be a 10? Is he a striker? Is he like your center forward instead of your striker, so to speak? Like your, what do you call it? Your false nine. It's going to be interesting to see how that works. And I think if Barcelona's healthy and they buy into what Flick wants to do, they'll be a better team. They really weren't that bad last year. They just had a lot of drama.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, they finished what? Second, third?
Barca last year was
third. Because he don't know a second.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen again.
No.
Especially with Dolphbeck gone. So yeah, I think So anyway, I'm going to Barcelona at second after a lot of thought and deliberation, but I do think it's going to be a really interesting race for second. I think the most interesting race in La Liga, in all honesty, is who finishes second between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, Morata leaving, it's somewhat of a negative, but they did get Alexander Sorloth too from Villarreal, who was second top goal scorer in La Liga last season with Villarreal, who really weren't that great. Mm-hmm. So that makes it more impressive to me. So if you go with a front three of Sorloth, Alvarez, and Griezmann playing beneath them, I think that's a nightmare for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And Le Mornand, the center back they got from Sociedad, really good. Did really well at the Euros.
Yep.
I think Gallagher and Rodrigo de Paul playing alongside each other would be absolutely fantastic. Very similar players, but I think they fit what Simeone wants. Just workhorses, going to run around. They're going to get balls out of nowhere and then just drive it up the field, or they're going to find key passes. Lino on the left side's a really good player.
Yep.
It's just a really good team. And again, I think it's better. And if they get Gallagher, that's a good addition.
Yep.
It's better. And they were a few bad decisions away, not making those, to getting to a Champions League semifinal last season. They were great against Inter in the second leg. And they weren't great against Dortmund, and Dortmund kind of just punished them. But they went ahead in that second leg in Germany and could have very well got to a Champions League semifinal. I think this team is now better. I have Atleti second, but I wouldn't be surprised if they finish third, maybe even teetering closer to fourth, but go on a deep run in the Champions League.
Interesting.
I I don't know if they could pull off both, especially in this new format.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to either be a title challenger, at least like towards the end of the season, like surprising, where maybe Real Madrid clinches on the third to last match day or the second to last match day, something along those lines, or they get to like a Champions League semifinal. I'm really intrigued to see how this team, fits in the retrospect of Europe as a whole. Andrew also went with Barca at second. He called it Fraudulona. Not surprising. Yeah, that's a tight one. I think no matter what, I think every argument is fair because Dani Olmo's a really good player.
Yeah.
And I think he gives them something different next to Lewandowski and Lamine Yamal. But the issue with him is fitness. It's always been that way. And that's kind of why, from a Leipzig perspective, it doesn't really hurt too much. Obviously, in their best 11, they would have him, but he hasn't been fit that much over the last couple of years. Of course, when he's healthy, he's great. But so I have Atleti in second. Everybody else has Barcelona in second, and then Atleti in third. Fourth, I feel like we're going to all agree here. I've gone Bilbao. Is there anybody that says something different? Jacob? No? He's muted.
I also went Bilbao. Biggest reason, Nico Williams.
Yeah. Very, yeah. Very, very. I could not agree more. Oh, what's Andrew saying?
Oh? Excuse me. All right. I guess breaking news on the pod.
I know. No, I need better sourcing. I do need
better sourcing, but okay, I guess let's just throw this whole plan out of the window.
Wow, that is insane.
Okay. I'm not gonna make a banner quickly, but actually, I will. You guys talk over what is going on so the viewers know.
There are reports, not verified, that Mauricio Pochettino is going to be the next manager of the United States of America. If this is true, then props.
Yeah.
Take the T out. Take the T out.
Jacob, how would you feel if he went from Chelsea to an international team?
Well, he should still be coaching my team, but that's not his fault. And I don't want to get into that right now because I said before the show I will not have another rant. So I'm not going to do that. But anyway, I think it'd be a great get for the United States of America, to be honest with you. I mean, we kept talking about how we wanted a big manager. We wanted Klopp was the white whale. He was never going to manage our team. Like that to me, that was never realistic. That's why he laughed it off when they brought it up. So this would be a really good plan B. This guy is my biggest worry with Pochettino is that he doesn't win big games a lot, which is a huge problem to me. He was never great at winning trophies at Tottenham, which is probably the thing that hindered him the most. But if you want an improvement, this is an improvement.
Yeah.
That I can promise you. And Vieira would not have been an improvement. If they hired Patrick Vieira, I would have cried to bring Greg back. That's how much I did not want Patrick Vieira coaching this team. Mauricio Pochettino is a really good manager. He likes to work with young players. He's very demanding, and I think this team needs demanding. They need someone who doesn't want to be their friend. There's been too much light-handedness with Greg. So I think if this happens, now again, I keep saying if because I need to see something more official for me to say that it's official. This would be a big upgrade, and the fans should be excited about this. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of team he puts together if he is the manager, because I don't think the lineups that Greg put out at the Copa were the lineups that I wanted, that I think most people thought were the right lineups. They just didn't execute. And ultimately, he took the blame for that because someone had to. So I think this is a good hire. If it happens, it's a good hire.
I don't even know what to say. Again, Jacob's spot on. Until we get more legit sourcing here, I'm not going to confirm it or feel and like talk as if it's confirmed. But he's already got a connection with Matt Crocker from his Southampton days, so that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just think what he's done in his career is going to, if this happens hypothetically, he is going to earn a certain level of respect from the dressing room because of what he's done in Europe. Southampton, Tottenham, PSG, Chelsea. I mean, these are big, big jobs, and it would be a huge statement not only for the federation, but for these players to just see a manager of this caliber be a part of this thing. And it's just I would be over the moon if this is the hire. Great attacking minded manager. If this group can finally show some maturity and some like drive and take it to the next level, I mean, look what he did with Chelsea in the back half of the year. A group that was unsettled, too many players, all youngsters.
He was
got them
given
almost into the top 4.
Yes, he was given the Titanic at the iceberg, and they said, "Get it back above water," and he almost did. That's what this man did. He took a team that had more injuries than any team in the Premier League. More injuries than any team in the Premier League, and almost got them to finish 6th when at one point they were as bad as 12th in the league, and went from 12th to 6th in 1 year with many of the same players. If this happens, I don't want to get my hopes up too much because I still firmly believe that the biggest reason we aren't going to achieve anything great is because we don't have any superstars. And I think we worry too much about the manager a lot and not enough about how the players just may not be good enough. You don't want to like accept it. But I'm excited if this happens. I'm excited, and this is worth getting excited about if you're a fan, in my opinion. So,
yeah, I mean, if there's anything that we learned from this Olympics with the women's team, getting a big name manager who gets a certain level of respect. Obviously, Emma Hayes and Poch have done 2 different things. It's not easy or fair to compare their resumes and their everything they've done in football, but yeah, this would be big. We will definitely have more on this as this develops, but for those that were focused on what we were talking about in La Liga, we apologize. Andrew's coming with the big news and required / asked us to discuss it. So there's that. Let's get back to this. I believe everybody had Bilbao in 4th.
Yeah,
correct.
5th. Quickly, I've gone Betis. I was between Betis and Girona. The only reason I stayed away from Girona in 5th was I just think balancing Champions League for the first time is going to be a tall order.
Yeah.
And a lot of their good players have left, but their manager is excellent. So even if those players that have left are going to leave a huge hole, I think the manager just is going to close that gap enough for them to finish in the 6th place. So I have Betis in 5th, Girona in 6th. Jacob, what do you think?
Girona in 5th. I can't believe I did this. Sociedad in 6th.
Did the same damn thing.
Go figure.
What? Oh my
me and Ricardo, the Siamese twins.
Would you like some good news or bad news, depending on how you think about it? Andrew's also done the same thing.
I don't know why I could pick a team like Sociedad who is allergic to scoring goals to finish 6th, but I did. So whatever. Doesn't mean I kind of want to flip flop it, but I don't want to do that twice in a row.
Okay, I'll do it then. I'll switch.
No, don't be
I'm not-
ashamed.
No, boo.
Don't. You see, Ricardo, every time he does this, it ends up not working out.
All right,
I don't care.
Remember, he did this in the Euro final, and he didn't get the correct score. Remember that.
Well, whatever. I never learn from my mistakes. It's all right.
Okay, so you're gonna flip it and do what?
Sociedad in 5th and Betis in 6th.
Okay. Just quickly before we get on to the Bundesliga, top goal scorers. Ricardo, I'll start with you.
Lewandowski.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Kylian Mbappe.
All right, we're gonna.
Oh, sorry. So
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, can I give you a reason why that won't happen? Mbappe, at least.
I'm right there with you. So
yeah, there's too many mouths to feed. So
Yep.
That's pretty much it. That's my logic. Vini, Rodrigo, Jude. Like, I'm sorry, it's not that he's not good enough to score that. You know, it's just there's too many players that will be scoring.
He definitely is going to be right there, I will say.
Yeah.
And Andrew's also selected Mbappe to be the top goal scorer. I've also gone with Lewandowski, one, because of what you mentioned, and how he's the talisman. Nobody's really competing for his position.
Yeah.
And he's with Hansi Flick.
Yeah, he's with the manager that actually likes him.
And that probably got some of the best years of his career out of him.
Yeah, definitely.
So
yeah.
I think it's going to be tight. I still do think, just because, I mean, when you look at the way, like, for example, City is, competed. Again, Haaland's the only real, like, true number 9. But, I mean, Foden was scoring a lot. When De Bruyne was healthy, he was bagging some goals. I mean, there's not really anybody competing for that top goal scorer spot. But I wouldn't be surprised if Vinny scores more goals than Mbappe in the league. I mean, it's not like the expectation, but, I mean, Vinny's had big scoring outbursts over like a 2-month stretch. I
mean, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Goals. Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch out for. But let's move on to the Bundesliga, which last season gave us something new, which is great. It's something we've been begging for like over a decade now. So it's a breath. I'm blanking on how to say the phrase.
Breath of fresh.
Thank you.
There you go.
This is why we're a team over here. So someone can bail me out. It was just really nice to see Leverkusen do something so extraordinary in a league like that with the way Bayern's dominated. So, what are we thinking here? Do we have Bayern taking back the throne, or is Leverkusen going to do it again? Jacob, I'll start with you.
I really don't want to pick Bayern because I think they had a terrible summer. Not terrible, but when they whiffed, they whiffed. Like, how the hell do you hire Vincent Kompany to manage Bayern Munich? Did the folks at Bayern watch Burnley last year? Do you know that Vincent Kompany was so stubborn that he wouldn't change his tactics that weren't working, even though he knew it probably would have helped, and even though they got relegated? This is like a captain who's like, I don't want to get off the boat because I need to stay with the ship. I mean, it's like, come on, man. And look, Michael Elise is a nice player, but they wanted him a little too badly. They already have a French left winger in Kingsley Coman, who they don't even like. So now we're going to get his duplicate? Not duplicate, you know what I mean? Same profile, and this is going to fix it? Again, Paulinho, really nice player. I'm a little worried if he's good enough to play for Bayern. A little. Fulham to Bayern is... that's a big step. That's like playing a video game and you go from level 1 to level 5. And I like Paulinho a lot. I think he was very underrated last year. I think he's a really good defensive midfielder, but I'm a little concerned about that. And just a lot of what they have is the same. It's not enough of a replenishment. I love Harry Kane, but I never trust Harry Kane to win a big game ever. I never have, and I never will. I have to see it to believe it. But my thing is with this, I don't think Leverkusen is going to be as lucky as they were last year. I mean, everything with the exception of the Super Cup went their way. Or excuse me, the Europa League went their way.
Yeah.
I mean, they had an absurd amount of luck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that happens 2 years in a row. Now, again, they could still be really good, not have this ridiculous run that they had, and still win the league. That's very possible. But I just think Bayern's going to be a little better. I think it's going to go down to the wire. It's going to go down to the wire, and I think Bayern will barely win the Bundesliga and take back their throne.
Wow. I really thought you were going to go against them.
I really want to.
This is the second straight league where he's opened this thing and just completely said, you know what? I'm going to completely tell you why they're not going to do this. And then just switch it up. So he's not switching this time.
No.
No flip-flop?
No flip-flop.
Okay. Jeez. You have
I do love Leroy Sané. I'm the last Leroy Sané defender out there.
All right.
Manuel Neuer is 38, but he's better than most goalies at 38.
Or just generally.
This is me compensating for how negative I was. And Harry Kane's really good when the games don't matter.
So the Harry Kane trophy streak's gonna end in your mind?
Yeah, you literally.
We're gonna talk him out of this. He's gonna flip flop for a second
yourself
straight
on
league.
it.
I have to bite my tongue. Yes, it will.
Wow. All right, Ricardo, how are you gonna follow this up one up?
Well, the other thing I'll say about Bayern, they might get, actually not might, they probably will get Jonathan Tah from Leverkusen at some point.
Stealing from the other competitors. That's
exactly. So, I mean, that's a huge loss if that, I guess, when that happens. But there's just too many question marks for Bayern. I can't listen as dominant as they were. That was the past. Listen. They've signed some decent players, maybe not good enough to win the league, to push for the. I mean, I like you said, I think it will go down to the wire at the end of it all. I just think Leverkusen's still better, and they have the better manager. And Xabi Alonso just literally won the whole thing last year. I know they won't get as lucky. They definitely won't get as lucky. They're not going to have all these late, equalizers or stoppage time winners and all that. That's not going to happen again. That's just, that's a one-off thing. But I still think they are the more talented side than Bayern. So that's why I have Leverkusen winning and Bayern second.
Yep. Andrew has agreed with Jacob. He's gone with Bayern to win the league.
God damn it.
I was teetering between the two as I was coming up with my predictions. I'm going to go with Leverkusen, though, and it's just difficult to gauge how company's going to do in this kind of a job. That's probably the biggest reason why I think this squad for Bayern is improved. Yeah. It's deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, Tah's probably gone. Stanisic, the right wing back, was on loan at Leverkusen going back to Bayern. That's at least a loss in terms of the depth they'd had. I'm going to go with Leverkusen, though, because of Xabi Alonso. I just think the manager battle here it's significant right now.
Yeah.
Until I see Vincent Kompany perform, over a couple months where it's consistent, has the locker room, generated some confidence and some unity. Because last year it was just all over the place. Kimmich was playing all over the place. Didn't really seem like he was happy.
Yeah.
Goretzka was in and out of the team. That you can go down the line. So many injuries. And again, I mean, Jacob's right. Elise, injury prone, doesn't really solve, much if that's what they're worried about, because Gnabry gets hurt a lot.
Yep.
Coleman has dealt with a lot
Yes.
of big injuries in recent years.
Thank you.
And I don't know if he's going to have an underwhelming season, but Harry Kane looked really poor at the Euros.
Yeah, but he always looks poor for England. Those
But,
games all mattered. All of those games were really important.
Yeah.
Not all of these games are going to be that important.
Yes,
You're gonna die on that.
you're right about that. But
The proof is in the pudding.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, he's not had a great career for England, and that's why people are like, oh, maybe he'll retire like Messi did and then come back. But he's on the other side. He's on the other side of 30. He played 45 games last season, and then I don't know how many it was in the Euros. Would that have been 7? I think 7 games, 7 high intensified matches. I know he didn't play the full 90 in a lot of those.
Yeah.
Which kind of shows you how tired he was. It really looked like it. Again, I don't think he's going to have a bad season by all means, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets off to a slow start. And I don't think the gap between these two teams is large enough where, they can overcome maybe they can, but I feel like a 6 to 8 point gap within the first 6 weeks could be enough. Like that's the type of thing that would make a difference for me. I think it's going to be separated by 3 points or less. I think this is going to go down to the final day. But I think just right now, given what Leverkusen have shown, especially with the improvements they've made, I know they got Garcia from Girona, who's another depth piece in that midfield. I'm going to go with Leverkusen slightly. Third, I think we're probably all going to be in agreement. Maybe not. I'm going to go with Leipzig. I think it's difficult. You pick Dortmund? Okay. Yeah. For me, Dortmund is a tough one to read because of the managerial change. Exactly. Sahin's a good mind, a great mind for one, actually.
But they change managers a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
they make managers a little kind of expendable.
Oh, they definitely do.
Tuchel.
Favre. It was Favre during COVID who got sacked, and then Terzic. And I mean, everybody was calling for his head multiple occasions over that tenure. But that Champions League run last season saved him. That's why he probably would have had the job for many going into the season, but they changed that position. The big thing for them is Hummels being gone and Royce. Yeah. Royce wasn't playing, heavy minutes last season.
That's huge leaders.
Huge leader. Yeah. And Hummels too. I mean, I know he had the period at Bayern, but I mean, he's a Dortmund legend too.
Yeah.
So you're going to bring Nicolas Soule back in, who was criticized for his weight last year, which kind of knocked him out of the team for a while. There was a lot of pictures showing him struggling with that. I know he's in better shape now, but Hummels is just a nightmare to defend with in the air, to go along with his leadership. So Leipzig gets Xavi Simons back. That's a big plus. The only real loss was Dani Olmo. And I mean, I just think keeping Simons, keeping Openda, and keeping Benjamin Sesko is enough for them to be comfortably in third. I think they're going to be comfortably in third with Dortmund tagging along, maybe like 7-ish points behind. I really don't think this Dortmund team's all that good. They overperformed last year in the Champions League, and I, for one, am not going to be fooled by that. They lose Jadon Sancho back to Manchester United too, which is going to hurt. I just don't think the squad is going to be able to perform like that 2 years in a row. So I'm going to go with Leipzig 3, Dortmund 4. Jacob, you had Dortmund though at 3. Why?
I still think they have a lot of really good players. And I still think that the nucleus of the team, like Julian Brandt, Emre Can, it's just some of the other guys that they have. I just think that they'll be good enough to finish third. And I thought they were a little underwhelming for their standard in the Bundesliga last year, and I think they'll be a little better. So, yeah, that's really it. It's not that much. Leipzig is just, I don't know. I mean, I like Sesko. I don't love Sesko.
That's fair.
So to me, it's a toss-up. It's not like, oh, this team's that much better than the other, or it's like a coin flip to me. It's like a 1.2 point difference.
I mean, just to boost, I guess, the Dortmund argument. I mean, they did sign Guirassy from Stuttgart. That's a huge one. I mean, how many goals he scored? Like 20,
and he dealt with some injuries. Was at AFCON for a little bit.
Yeah, but
impressive,
yeah, very, very good season for him. Keeping Adeyemi is also huge. Could have gone to Juve, but I think that just broke down.
Yep.
But still, that's a huge. I mean, keeping him is just pretty big for them. Losing Fulkrug, I mean, he's kind of expendable, I guess, but Malin's still there. I mean, they at least attacking wise, I think they're still good enough. It's more defensively that I'm slightly concerned with them, which is also why I have them in fourth.
I do, and I'm just thinking about this off the top of my head. They also lose Ian Maatsen, which
that's a good point. Yeah.
Huge loss, but they did get the what was the right back from Girona, the Brazilian. I'm blanking on his name.
Jan Couto, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a good addition. I mean, he was fantastic last year. So
yeah,
a little bit of a different profile, obviously, with the position, but yeah, it's gonna be tight, I think, between those two teams. Andrew's also gone with Dortmund 3, Leipzig 4. Just quickly for 5th and 6th, I've gone Frankfurt in 5th and Stuttgart in 6th.
Yeah.
I think
the exact same.
Yeah, I don't know if the depth in this area of the Bundesliga is all that great. There's not many good teams behind that, first four, in my opinion. Frankfurt's been a solid European team. It's built a pretty good resume over the years. I think without Glasner, though, it's hard to see them cracking into that top 4. Yeah. Stuttgart is going to have to deal with the Champions League for the first time. And they went from battling relegation to Champions League. They lose their striker. Just hard to see them, again, repeating into the top 4. But, again, I don't really think teams like Hoffenheim and Wolfsburg, Union Berlin potentially, finding a resurgence. I just don't know if there's enough for these other teams in Germany to really crack into that top 6. So Frankfurt 5, Stuttgart 6. Jacob, I know you mentioned that as well. Anything to add on?
What? Oh, anything on that? No, you hit it all right on the head.
Ricardo, anything different there on your end?
Nope. Also have those the same. I mean, Stuttgart, I feel like it's reasonable to assume that they're going to fall because of Champions League, and they also lost 2 other stars outside of Guirassy, but so they had key losses. But so I'm in agreement with you guys.
Andrew's gone with Stuttgart in 5th and Hoffenheim in 6th. That's another team that's kind of flirted with European places for quite a long time. So something different there. But let's finish off our previews with my personal favorite with these, just because of the league and how interesting
Golden
it is.
Boot? Wait, did we do Golden Boot?
Oh, yes. Well,
Harry Kane.
Yeah, I picked Harry Kane too.
Yeah. I wanted to pick Sesko so bad, but I couldn't do it.
I actually was thinking if I was going to pick anybody else, it was going to be a Penda.
Okay,
but,
that's fair.
It's he's probably going to get 30 plus again.
Yeah,
it's hard to see him not. Andrew's also going with Harry Kane. Good things for reminding me. But let's crack in on Serie A, because I think it's pretty interesting, at least in this top 6 discussion, because it was very tight last year at that back end. Some surprises, some regulars. Let's start with the title. Does anybody think it's going to be at least a race? And if it's a race, who's there? Jake, I'll start with you.
I think it will be more competitive than it was last year. I don't think Inter will run away like they did last year, where they just completely dominated the league. I think it's so hard. as good as Jan Sammer was last year, I think it's a tall order to ask him to be that good again. I mean, I think that they only allowed 22 goals. 22.
Really low.
22 goals. That's less than Arsenal last year, who also had an insane record of not giving up many goals. Most of the team is pretty much intact. The manager's still there. But I just think it's going to be a little more competitive. I think do you want me to just list my top 6, or what do you want? I have Inter winning again. I do. Okay. I just think they're too good. They've been building something for the last 4 years, 3 whatever years. That's really strong. They're a really good unit. Everybody knows what their role is. Lautaro Martinez is probably the best striker in the league. They have great supplemental players. The goalkeeper's great. The defending's good. They're really good. Martinez, Thuram. I think Thuram, who is not very good for France, is going to be really good for Inter because he's been good for Inter, and I think that will continue. Marcus Thuram. Barella, De Vrij, all these guys are really good players. And I think that we haven't had a back-to-back Serie A winner in a little while now. I think that they're good enough to do it again.
Since Juve did it in
yeah. I think you had Juve. I think you just picked Juve to win the.
No, absolutely not. I will not do that.
But I thought they got the new Einstein of football managers.
Thiago Motta.
I think he's very good.
Well, I have them in second, but I am a little curious to see how good I am a little curious to see how good he actually is, because I've heard a lot of talk about how he's a revolutionary manager, and I want to see it. I have them in second. I love Douglas Luiz. I'm very happy he doesn't play for Villa anymore. I think he's really good. It sucks that we don't really know what's going to happen with Weston McKennie, especially after he had a good year.
Yeah, he's one of the better players, and now he's getting exiled.
Yeah, sucks. Yeah. I hope that Thiago Motta doesn't rely a lot on Timothy Weah, because if he does, he's gonna lose a lot of patience really fast. But Vlahovic, who a year ago was mentioned in where's he gonna go? Who are they gonna sell him to? Now he's not going anywhere. And he had a great year last year, and I think he will again. So I had them in second. Do you want me to just keep going? Or
sure, yeah, why not?
Third, AC Milan. I don't know why they got rid of their manager. I think it made I just don't get it. I don't really think it made a lot of sense. I don't think that they got a better. I don't know if they got a better manager. I mean, where did they get Fonseca from?
Lille, I believe.
Yeah, from Lille. Yeah,
I think it was Lille.
Okay, Lille. I mean, Lille's
finished 4th last season, but
what'd they finish?
4th.
Okay, in Liga. I mean, whoop-de-do. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's okay, but I have a question. Does Zlatan Ibrahimovic still play for AC Milan?
Nope.
He doesn't.
Nope.
Yeah, he's like some ambassador.
Yeah.
I'm I see him on television promoting AC Milan. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought he retired. What is he doing?
Living life, being
nobody will ever turn down an interview. Nobody will ever. That guy has never turned down a camera on his face. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But third AC Milan. I like Morata going there. Back to Italy. I think he'll perform well there. I like Pulisic, had a really good year. I'm a little they need a lot more out of Leao. Leao was really bad last year. He's bad for Portugal. He was not very good for AC Milan, and they want more out of him. Fourth, Roma.
Okay.
Year 1, a full year one under Daniele De Rossi, a manager that the players actually like.
Mm-hmm.
Paulo Dybala is there. I think he's a great player still. He deserves to be on the Argentine national team too. Let's get that out of the way.
Well, he might leave. He
To
might
where?
leave.
Where?
Saudi League.
No.
He might.
Please,
He's been linked to.
no. You've gotten your career back on track. Don't ruin it.
Who
Don't
says it's
ruin it.
ruining it?
Come on, don't go to the Saudi League. But I like Roma. Roma was really good under De Rossi. It seemed like they were let out of jail after Mourinho.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a great way of looking at it.
Freed, yeah.
And I think they're going to be a good team. 5th, Atalanta. Scamacca getting hurts, but they'll still be pretty good. And 6,
Monza.
Monza.
Who?
Oh no! I've heard that too many times.
We got another moment. Another who?
No, 6, of course, is Napoli. I wanted to pick them higher, but there are too many guys I have never heard of in the team.
All right, fair.
But but I promise you this: when Antonio Conte gets his feet on those pitches again, the Serie A will feel the wrath of one of the best managers in the world. They won a game recently that it was 0-0. They won on penalties. That is Antonio Conte football. And I'm telling you, if they let him get Lukaku, you better watch out. God. It's going to be Inter 2.0. Just remember that this guy at Inter won them the league after they hadn't won the league in 11 years. He helped break Juve's domination. Remember that. He's the one that put Inter back on the right track to what they are now. It was him. And whether it's Osimhen, if they can get Osimhen happy again, or it's Lukaku, he will figure it out. And this guy will, I'm telling you, Kavicha, Varscalia, he'll look good under Antonio Conte. And their defense, I guarantee you, will allow a lot less goals. That's a guarantee. Antonio Conte teams defend. And I am rooting hard for his success. Why are you shaking your head?
I just don't think that he's all that, but he's all that good. But well.
He took a team. Last time he took over a team that finished in 10th place, they won the league. That team was named Chelsea.
I will say it's difficult to compare those two because I just don't think this Napoli team.
No, it's not.
It's far less talented than the one that he picked up at Chelsea.
It's not.
But he is a manager that is familiar with the league, and for whatever reason, anytime he comes back, he is successful. So I do agree with you on that. I guess I'll go next. Me and Jacob have the exact same 1 through 6.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Bye, Bologna. Your Wonder Kid manager's gone. Calafiori's gone.
Xerxes gone.
Yep.
Yeah, him too.
Um,
Bologna, nice knowing you. You know?
And they got the Champions League.
So
lose your striker, lose your center back, lose your manager, and you're in a deeper, more difficult competition in a new format. Yeah, it's it's gonna be a long season. I mean, we continue to mention these teams like Stuttgart, Girona. I mean, these first-time Champions League teams in a new format. It's really hard to see them being able to balance both. Yeah. Aston Villa. I know a lot of us had them, kind of similar to what they were last season, but yeah, it's going to be a tall task for a team like Bologna. Again, Inter is fantastic. Inzaghi's fantastic. I really want to take Juve, but I feel like they're more likely to really contend and really potentially win a league next year in Monza's second season. The problem is with this squad is that there's just no other goal scorers other than Vlahovic.
Yeah.
They're going to let Chiesa go, which if you can bring in a legit replacement, And, I know he hasn't looked himself since the ACL.
He's always
injury.
hurt. Part of the problem with Chiesa is he's always hurt. He's
Yeah.
not,
It's just
It's not
I
durable.
understand moving on from him only if you get a proper replacement.
That's a good point.
I think they've done a great job refreshing that midfield. They got not only Douglas Luiz, but Thuram from, I believe it was Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And they're as close as anything to getting Koopmeiners from Atalanta, who was the best, probably number 10 in the league last year, and one of the huge reasons why they were able to win the Europa League. So the midfield's great. The defense is really solid with Bremer. They got a new goalkeeper in, and they moved on from Szczesny, which I think is a smart decision. Danilo's a consistent right back, a leader. I like their defense. I like their midfield, but I just don't know if they have enough goals to really potentially win a league this year. I know there's been some links to, wide players. Raheem Sterling's one. I think that would make a lot of sense for both player and club. Just a lot of players are in his position at Chelsea at the moment. I think just moving on from
Not any good ones.
I just don't think he's high enough on the pecking order where I think he would get consistent minutes at Juve. I just don't know because you're looking at Yildiz, a teenager, being that second option.
Yeah,
I just don't know if they have enough to really, push Inter all the way. I think it'll be close, but I don't think they're going to wind up winning the league, despite my potential intentions to take them to win it. Milan, Jacob mentioned a lot of that. I think they're going to have a solid season. I like the Morata signing. Giroud's obviously a big miss both on the field and in the dressing room, but Morata had a really good season. Still an inconsistent striker in terms of the goals, but I think he's a solid addition. I think getting Fofana from Monaco, if that can go through, would be a nice piece as well, just to give them another option in middle area. Roma, I was close to putting them in third. Dobic is great for them. Very, very different stylistically to Lukaku, but he was one of the huge reasons why Girona did what they did last year. Sule is another forward who I think they're going to lean on. Did really well for one of the bottom feeders in Serie A last season. Of course, if they can keep that ball, that'd be great. But the money's difficult to pass up at his age, especially with this injury history too, because you don't know when the next big paycheck's going to come. That's the big weak point for him throughout his career. He's been great when he's healthy, but he's not healthy enough. So I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves. But if he doesn't, that's a great piece. Atalanta, fifth. Not too much to add. Koopmeiners leaving would be a huge blow. Scamacca being out for the whole season virtually is a major miss. And I like Lookman. I like Pastelic and CDK. They'll finish fifth, just outside the Champions League spots. Napoli, sixth. I assume Lukaku's going to be in.
Yeah.
I do think if they don't get him, one of the other teams is going to be able to potentially knock them off. I like Conte. I think he's excellent. But I just don't know if they have enough goals if Lukaku doesn't come through the door, which you would think is probably going to happen. But I don't know. We're currently recording this on the 14th. There's probably a little more than 2 weeks left in the window.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they've gotten to advanced talks. It seems like
it won't happen soon. It will be dragged out as much as possible.
I feel like that's going to be something that happens the final week, maybe even deadline day.
Yeah.
And maybe the only way that it happens if his Osimhen is in a swap. I don't know. It's just
we'll take him.
You will. Yeah.
It'll be good for you guys.
I'm fascinated to see how that thing turns out because
I am too.
It's not impossible that Osimhen gets stuck. Nobody's really jumping at the gun here to pay. I don't know what it is, probably 120 to go get him.
Yep.
I mean, PSG is the team he's most linked to, but I mean, is it really likely that they would move for him? I don't know. Like if Kolumuani and Ramos, who they both just bought for a ton of money, I don't know. I feel like the only way he gets out is if Chelsea can do a swap of some sort, and maybe they have to add more than Lukaku to get it done. Or maybe Arsenal.
Fine. You want more players? We'll give you more players. What do you want? There's not many off the table. Pick a card, any card. Who do you want, Napoli? You want Mudryk? We'll give you Mudryk. You want Neto? We'll give you Neto.
Bro.
You just got him.
I don't want him. You want Trevor Chalobah because we don't anymore? We'll give you Trevor Chalobah. You want Ben Chilwell because the manager doesn't want him anymore? We'll give you Ben Chilwell. That'll balance the books. I think I just solved Chelsea's transfer problem.
They should put you in charge.
I mean, better than the clowns they got working there now. Can you imagine if they had all or nothing for Chelsea?
My goodness.
God, please.
Can you imagine how bad it would be? Not entertainment-wise, for how bad they'd look. Can you imagine? I'm sorry. I forgive me for being off track, but Victor Osimhen, I think could break the number 9 curse. Chelsea have a curse of people that wear the number 9. Fernando Torres, Morata, Higuain, there's more. Falcao. Yeah, I wrote about it a while back, but it's a real thing. There's plenty, but Victor Osimhen would look real good in dark blue. I can promise you
that. Ricardo, any big changes in your top 6?
My top 6 is the same. The 6 teams are the same, but I have Roma in 3rd.
Okay.
So I did what you were thinking about doing.
Sure.
Milan in 4th. Just for the reason of I think Roma is the better manager at the moment. And Fonseca, I mean, track record, like so. Not all that.
CV's okay. Not special.
It's okay, yeah. And then I have Napoli in 5th, Atalanta in 6th. I don't know. I just, with the loss of Coop Miners, and I mean, we've already gone over this, the injury to Scamacca, like they're significant. So I just think it'll be hard to replace those 2 players. So that's why I have them in 6th.
Andrew has done the same 6 teams, but very different. Inter in 1st, AC Milan in 2nd, Jacob's Napoli in 3rd.
Gee.
You see, Andrew gets it.
No.
You know what? I get it. He's got Juve in 4th, Atalanta in 5th, and Roma in 6th. So pretty significant changes there. I'm fascinated to hear the next time we speak to him what he thinks of Napoli and why he has them finishing in the Champions League place. It's interesting. But before we move on to bets, top goal scorer in the division, what are we thinking?
Go, Jacob. I want to hear yours.
Who did I write down? Sorry, give me a minute.
Lukaku.
La Caca. No. God darn it. Who did I write down?
All right, I'll say mine.
Oh, Lautaro Martinez. What am
I knew it.
What I guess, is that yours?
No, it's not actually.
Oh, wow.
Because that's too obvious. So I went with Vlahovic. You Christian? Yes.
I just think, just to add some detail to that, Motta's a much more attacking-minded manager. Yeah. He, again, as I mentioned before, really the only natural number 9 established, career has, progressed enough to the point where I feel like he's going to play majority of the games.
Yeah.
I just think he's going to thrive in that system. And Andrew has gone with Jacob's pick and Lautaro. It's kind of really those only 2. I don't really see like a Morata competing for that. Maybe Dobic would be the outside one.
Yeah, dark horse. I like that.
Did a very good job of scoring the goals he was that were put in front of him last season in La Liga. So besides those three, kind of difficult to see anybody else. But that's all for preview and predictions for those three leagues. And of course, if you did not see our last episode, we talked all things Premier League. So don't worry, we did discuss it in detail. All right, let's get into our final thing, which is our best bets.
Oh, Lord.
Our favorite segment for some, for others, not so much.
Me.
Let's start with Andrew's pick. And he has gone with his Brighton to draw against Everton.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's too good.
It's going to be probably a 1-1 draw.
No, that's amazing.
I believe the game is at Goodison. It is 10 a.m. on Saturday at Goodison. And just for the viewers, both matches last season ended in 1-1 draws.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can keep the trend going. That is $10 to win 24 at plus 240 odds on FanDuel. Okay. All right, we'll go backwards. I'll go next. I've gone with the two Milan teams to win this weekend. Inter is on the road at Genoa. That's at 12:30 on Saturday. And Milan AC is at home against Torino. So going with two established top teams in Italy to take care of business on match day one. That's at plus 145, $25 to win $36.46. Ricardo.
All right.
All viewers.
Because I love to. I don't even know I was going to go with that, but third time's a charm. I don't know where I'm going with it. Anyway, it's not going to win. It's not going to hit anyway. That's just how it goes. All right, PSG money line. They're playing Le Havre. I just realized this. All these games are on the road. Whatever, it's fine. So PSG money line. Man City to beat Chelsea. Sorry, Jacob.
It's what a responsible gambler would do.
Well, I'd never win, so that's not responsible.
Hopefully, the Ricardo jinxing powers work.
Yeah, exactly. Real Madrid to beat. Who are they playing? Mallorca on the road. That's plus 272. 20 to win. 54.40.
And if you're looking for responsible gambling, we're leaving the best guy for last.
Folks, the key is not to spend a lot of money if you're worried about your finances like I am. So we're going to go with Bournemouth. And I know they lost Dominic Solanke. So you're saying, Jacob, why would you put on Bournemouth now? Well, to answer that question, they're playing Nottingham Forest. Justin Kluivert, I can almost hardly name anybody on that Bournemouth team. But what I know is that Mino Raiola, Walmart, Unai Emery will figure it out. They're the same. They look kind of similar. They sound similar. They make this weird face a lot when they're always like this. Like they'll figure it out and they'll win. But again, folks, it's not a lot of money. So the good news is if you win, you win. The bad news is if you lose, you didn't lose. Your wallet doesn't take too much of a hit. You're welcome.
Smart.
All right. Well, that's our first set of bets for the season. Something you'll continue to see throughout the year. We'll see how those go. We're excited for the new season. We talked about it last week. We're going to talk about it again and again and again. Tomorrow we have La Liga. Friday we have Premier League. We have everything you could possibly imagine this weekend. It is the best time of the year for me, or at least one of them, certainly. We're pumped. All of our teams are in action this weekend, so you'll definitely be hearing about us next week in some reactions to all these matches. But for now, thank you for watching. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course, as always, let us know in the comments below if there are any suggestions you have for future episodes. But for now, thank you for watching and see us next time.